Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back. Another show. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Follow us on all the podcast platforms if you can that you listen to. That is the handshake agreement we have with you. You subscribe, follow, share, comment, whatever it is that you do. And you get all the content for free. We're here to put it out for you. We like doing it, but that's the handshake agreement. Thank you for doing that. You can also go to the website, drivewaybeerspodcast.com/donate, and you can join us on the driveway with your choice of light beer, beer, whiskey, craft beer, whatever you want. Pick one, and join us on the driveway. We got a guest tonight. We don't normally do remote guests, but we got a remote guest, so if our audio isn't the best, please forgive us. But we have with us Ken Walker from the Due Distillery. And if that sounds familiar, it's because I mentioned it last week. And I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago as well. My wife and I, we were out in West Virginia, had a nice weekend to ourselves. Thank you to my mother for keeping the kids for a week. For a weekend, not a week. Jeez, if a week it'd be another story. We went out to West Virginia. Nothing really out there. We just wanted to get away. Stayed in. It wasn't a resort. I don't remember what they call it. It was like a cabin, like a bunch of cabins out in the woods. They had a restaurant there, a nice restaurant. And we went to the casino out there. Played some craps, which was nice. Lost some money. Happens. And then on the day before we were going to leave, we wanted to go and do something. So my wife also enjoys a nice whiskey or bourbon now and then, just like I do. She kind of got into it when I did, which was nice. It's kind of like we picked up a hobby together. And she's a champ when she drinks this stuff. She likes the lower proof stuff like I do. And the higher stuff burns a little bit, and so she doesn't enjoy it as much. Like, I think I had her try the Old Forester 100. She didn't like that as much as the 86.
Right. Well, mine's not into it at all, so you're lucky. So
a little bit at a time. I think it's one of those things where if you present it like, "Hey, I think I want you to get into this with me,"
like just the tip.
Just the tip. I just want you to get into it. Let's have a hobby together.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll. Oh look, he's involving me in his hobbies. That's so nice. I'll give it a try just for that. But anyway, all right. But anyway, so that Due Distillery, they were super nice guys, and I was talking to them when I was out there. My wife was talking to them. We were trying some of the whiskey. We tried the Devil's Due straight bourbon on the show last week. I enjoy it. It's got a sweet. It tastes nice and sweet for me. For a 90 proof, it doesn't burn going down, doesn't burn on the mouth. It's just a smooth whiskey. And so I wanted to have him on the show. So we want to welcome in Ken Walker, who is the distiller at the Due Distillery. And like we were mentioning before, this was the distillery I went out to. Awesome place. It was a small distillery, but it was a really cool setup that you guys had in the back. I was actually, so when you went back up front, I was talking with Wiley for a minute there, and he pulled. I maybe you know which one he pulled out for me, but I was telling Mike. So we're tasting the Devil's Due straight bourbon, the one you guys have for sale now.
Yeah.
But that other one that you haven't put out yet, I think was amazing the way it was, and I can only imagine what it's going to be like in what is that one almost ready in like another 6 months to a year?
Did you pull out of the weeded bourbon barrel? We did a barrel pull.
It was at the very top.
Yeah, I'd like to back up just a hair. You walked into the shop, and we're pretty busy. You came in. That was your wife with us, with you there, right? And we introduced each other there, and you said, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. I run a podcast." I'm like, "Podcast?" I'm like, "We want to get on that podcast." Oh my gosh. How did we get there? And then here we are today. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for bringing us on the air here. That we had several releases that day of our local whiskeys, which we're now just getting into. They're 2-year whiskeys out of 15-gallon barrels. And we have like 15 different mash bills down there that we're working with because we're just coming online right now with ourselves as distillers. I mean, I'm moonshine for like 20 years. I mean, and then to have an opportunity now to go in and actually make fine bourbons and whiskeys, holy cow, this is like the most super exciting thing ever. And so the whiskeys that you see that are starting to drop are the whiskeys that we are just playing around. Like, we're starting off with 100% corn, going into smacking a bunch of rye on top of some variations. I got like 15 different mash bills to try to understand the different variations. And that's what we spent the last 2 years doing. And that's what we're starting to taste right now. So when you come down and see our releases, you're getting a real nice touch of art right there and just a real nice learning experience. And we have the stories to back the whiskey up, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was just so when we were in the back there, I think we tried about 3 different ones. One of the cool ones that you did for us, though, you let us taste the whiskey before it went in the barrel. So it was clear whiskey. And I thought that was really amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. It was pretty hot for me because I'm more of a non-ice guy. And then you gave us one from a barrel. And that one, even you said that one was a little hot for you. And it was funny that I was bringing that up because in our last episode, we were talking about how some of these people describe these whiskeys.
Yes.
And I think that we were talking about this one lady, and I can't remember the podcast or the YouTube channel she's on, but she stuck her nose in this glass and basically said it smells like Dusty Barrel. or was it taste like Dusty Barrel? I forgot what she said.
I think she said tastes like Dusty Barrel, and then the guy was like, "Oh yeah, now that you mentioned it, I'm picking up some Dusty Barrel too."
I mean, how do you know what dust tastes like? Are you licking dust to know what a Dusty Barrel tastes like to you?
Well, I guess that's kind of like when you describe dirty socks, right? Or you start describing things in a manner, is it good, bad? I'm not really sure how to take Dusty Barrel. I almost look like a dusty library book is sometimes the words I use. Dusty library book combined with cigars, like, in an ashtray overnight, right? There's all these indicators that are really fun. Common indicators that we talked about were like, cinnamon, caramel, vanilla, you might taste a hint of like maybe a clove or a spice on top. You can mention spice words or real big words to use. I just tell people, honestly, when it comes to describing whether it's whiskey or whether it's any type of alcoholic beverage, whether even wine too, just make words up, man. That's the fun of it. Somebody gets it. Like if you come across a word and they go, "Oh yeah, I kind of understand what you're talking about." That's all you're trying to do is communicate what you're feeling and tasting and that sensation that you're going through. Because that's all tasting whiskey is about. It's just like, what are you experiencing? Because I can't tell you what good whiskey is. Only you can tell me what you like. That's all, and I can only tell you how I experience something and how I see it. And then you try to figure out if that's the same way you feel too.
So as a distiller though, as someone who actually makes this stuff, if someone were to come in and they do a tasting of one of your whiskeys, and they say, "Oh, I'm getting a lot of Dusty Barrel out of this," and like in a good way though, right? So you're kind of flattered that they're probably like complimenting your whiskey, but at the same time, you're probably like, I didn't put any dust in my whiskey. Like, what kind of crap are you full of?
It's game on then. Now it's a word challenge. That's all. Now we just words back and forth. No, it's a lot of fun like that. No, I welcome all kinds of input. I mean, you have to understand, like I said, like, when you try a whiskey, I have people come in and go, "Oh no, I can't drink this," or "Wow, this is really amazing." Like, you have someone come right behind them and taste the same whiskey and go, "Wow, I really like this one a lot." That's personal, that's personal subjective opinions there. And you have to respect that. I mean, I don't like, gin. I can't drink gin. It's just a hard thing, right?
My reason for gin is a little different because I drank too much of it one night.
High school. I mean, Jack Daniels, forget it. I'm out. It's nothing personal against Jack. I just have a taste aversion from, again, high school. Probably. Yeah. Drank in the 80s, guys. That's just
yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned Jack Daniels because I was just about to mention it, and because my father-in-law loves it. And he likes Scotch, Jack Daniels, and I was out of bourbon. So when they're having their house built, they stay with us for about 6 weeks, and he and I would have, each night would have a nightcap. So it would be, I'd pour him his Jack or Johnny Walker, and then I would just grab some bourbon. Well, I was out. I'm like, oh, the only thing here is Jack. So I'm like, I have some Jack. So I drank it, and my description of it was it tastes like Hoppy's number 9 bore solvent. So if you've ever been into, anyone who's into guns or has been around firearms knows exactly what I'm talking about. Hoppy's number 9 has this distinct smell, and to me, that's what Jack Daniels tastes like. So maybe someone would think that I'm pretentious because, like, oh, what the hell is Hoppy's number 9 taste like, you douchebag? Well, but like anyone who's been around a gun will tell you they know it's like what gasoline smells like.
Well, I mean, Jack Daniels is so distinctively different than Jim Beam, so distinctively different than Maker's Mark, Woodford Reserve. They're all so distinctively different, and you just have to realize that we call that I don't know for better words or worse words, I don't know, terroir, right? The terroir of the whiskey. It's your environment, it's the people, the equipment, and then the ingredients that go into these things that make a whiskey, and they're distinctively so unique because of those characteristics. And that goes to say that's what that's all about. And we're no different. Like, our whiskeys are just going to be different than everybody else's whiskey. And part of like what makes good whiskey for me is not so much, I may not care for certain characteristics of a whiskey, but for me, that's okay. I don't have to like every part of it, but to have a smooth whiskey, that's what we're really achieving here, and going deep into the hearts, creating really nice smooth whiskeys. And then we're learning there's just certain whiskeys that may take a little longer in the barrel, and then other whiskeys, man, they come out real tight and smooth. As long as that is there, the rest of it's subjective in my mind, to be a good whiskey. And like I said, nothing against Jack. It really is just a personal thing. It was a taste aversion in high school, right?
So when we tell this to our listeners all the time, when we give our opinion of a whiskey, we come at it from a novice point of view. We're fairly new as far as getting into whiskey. We're coming from beer because we were trying to eliminate carbs from our diet. And our two main criteria, one, and because I think if new people are getting into whiskey, this is what they're going to think. One, does it burn my mouth? And two, does it burn going down? And three, is it going to burn coming back up? And we've actually found that once you get into, you can get certain whiskeys or bourbons that don't burn going in, they don't burn going down, and they don't burn coming back up. And you can get one fairly reasonably priced. You don't have to pay $1,000 for a bottle.
No, yes, that's true. And yeah, I mean, that's that. And some people just realize that some people like a little warmth, is what we like to call it. Now, if it's burning down here in your esophagus, that's really has a tell of like, the distiller's cut comes into play there. Like, I've had some whiskeys from some small distilleries where that whiskey's hot. I've had some whiskeys from moonshiners that I just couldn't drink. I mean, it was just they were new, they didn't know where the cuts were, and that's key. One thing I'd learned about moonshiner was make good corn whiskey, man. You make good smooth corn whiskey, and the way you make good smooth corn whiskey is you go deep down into the hearts and you really discard quite a bit of the front end. And that's one of the things I like about what we're doing there is we really pay attention to that going into these 15-gallon barrels. We really go ahead and just, we have a saying, like, don't be greedy. It's not worth it. Just go into the hearts and go for that smooth whiskey. Past that, then you're starting to deal with like flavor profiles and things like that. And that's where you start to look at the grains that are coming in it. And by the way, I'm no expert either. I'm on a journey of the last 2 years where I've just been lapping up a lot of whiskey and tasting it and analyzing it. And it's really a fun journey. And I'm learning new every day. So one thing I will say, being a beer drinker myself, is that I do believe that the Boilermaker or the sidecar is certainly misunderstood, and beer and whiskey are so well paired together. And that's the thing that I'm looking at now is like different beers pairing with different whiskeys and carrying, kind of some same traits and characteristics of that dusty barrel can lay on a beer too,
Well, that's a neat thing because like there are times where I will have a and I never thought about whiskey and beer pairs. Everyone thinks about like food and wine, or maybe if someone's making a cocktail, like this cocktail and that, with these mixers. But like even just going, maybe not in the same glass, but something where, hey, I'm drinking some IPAs, but then maybe I want to finish off with something a little harder before I go to bed, or maybe I'm gonna start out with something harder. Like, how do they go together?
Yeah, man, dump that whiskey right in that beer too now. I mean,
Jeez.
you don't have to go side by side with it either. I mean, we drink that barrel-aged beer coming out of the breweries now, and there's whiskey in them barrels, and that whiskey's laying down on that beer like that. And I got to thinking, like, why am I waiting for it to age when I can just toss it right in there? Beautiful thing,
So whiskey is kind of, you're playing the long game a little bit, because you've got to put together a barrel of whiskey 2 to 3 years in advance, because it's got to sit right. Yes. And you guys, as a small distiller, every barrel counts for you. Like if you got to put an axe to a barrel because it tastes like poo to you,
nobody puts an axe to a barrel.
Right. It can be used for something else. I get that, but I mean, every barrel that you have to kind of repurpose for something else is a lost barrel. You might not be making as much money off of it. So as a small distiller, what decision making goes into what you're going to put in a mash bill to get the whiskey eventually that you're going to get out of it, that you might not even know what it tastes like in 2 to 3 years? Like, what's your decision making process as far as what you're putting in a mash bill?
Well, we have 15 different mash bills for that very reason, because we don't know. So, we started off on our very first run was about the equipment and getting it online. We just got it all hooked up. We had it all in play. And we ran 100% corn through it to have 0 variables on the grain bill. Let's just run a straight corn. It's just a straight 100% corn bourbon that we're targeting. I come from corn background. I love corn, so it was a great first distillation. And we ran the hell out of just straight corn for probably like the first five weeks. And our first whiskey releases were 100% corn. From there, we started going in and saying, well, let's introduce a second grain. So we ran a couple whiskeys where we had 2 grains going on it, like just a nice distiller's malt on top, giving it a soft end. And we found that, like a 93% corn was good, or sorry, 100% corn was good, but then there was a finish on the backside that was just, to me as a corn drinker, just a little bit too, I don't know, for lack of better words, bitter for me, right? Or it just had something there that just didn't carry on the finish. So, but when it went in the barrel, boy, it finished out real nice. And but it still was just straight corn. We came back in and did a 93.7. And when we did that, 7% barley malt on top, that barley lays on the back of your palate. I know this now just from just tasting, single malt barleys, whiskeys that we've been running. It has a finish on the very back side of the palate with a sweetness. So by just adding 7% on this corn, it brought in, it totally shifted the whiskey. And that was a big learn. So this is nothing but a journey of learns through process. And it's been 2 years, and I got to tell you, it is a freaking blast. Following when we introduced wheat, I've got a 49% wheat with a 51% rye. It's a rye whiskey. Oh my gosh, that is so good. And the wheat is just so upfront, so sweet. And that's just from learning from, lapping up a bunch of White Dog at 7 o'clock in the morning. That White Dog whiskey is where it all starts. I've been licking on that for 2 years. Holy cow. You said you tried some and it wasn't that, it's not pleasant, but there's unpleasant flavors in the White Dog as a distiller to understand those. And then to see them churn in the barrel and then start to have identifiers to say that unpleasant or that not so pleasant taste over here is going to be this wonderful flavor over here. And so right now, 2 years in, as these barrels are coming down, oh my gosh, the light bulbs, the dots are all connecting. And we're starting to see that. We're like, okay, this is really awesome here. Now we're going into finishing practices, which is really super fun too, which is a whole other conversation in itself when you take whiskey and you do a little more with it. Double barreling, double oak. We got a Chardonnay barrel right now we're getting ready to lay down. Oh, I have no idea what's going to happen. But I bet it's going to be great. We're putting a really nice wheated bourbon in there, and boy, we're going to finish that off there. It's going to be a really nice whiskey.
Let me just give the details of the distillery real quick. So it's Devil's Due Distillery. It's on 315 James Burr Boulevard in Kearneysville, West Virginia. It's 25430. The Facebook page is facebook.com/Devil's Due Distillery. If you want to check them out there. We found you just by going on Yelp when we were out there. We were looking for a distillery, and you guys were one of the highly rated ones. So we were like, well, let's go over there. And anyone who's listening right now, if you're out in that West Virginia area, if you're in Charlestown, if you're in Harpers Ferry, anywhere in that area, head on over. You'll probably see Ken over there, and you will. The one thing I told Mike when I was there was like, I don't think you guys understood the word no or no thank you. The shots kept coming.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and right now it's it's really kind of it's good and bad. I mean, we have so much I want everyone to try. We have so much whiskey available right now that we just really started to lay down. All the whiskey we laid down is now coming to fruition. So we have a lot of different. Right now we have 2 different varieties of our whiskeys that are coming out. We got a third one we're getting ready to release here. A wheated bourbon. Oh my gosh, we just released, by the way, Dill Pickle Moonshine. Come out and check it out. It's pretty good.
Pickle.
Yeah, we can. We bottled that today. That was a lot of fun.
So it's funny because when we're talking about mixing things, so our friend Ty, who's been on the show a couple of times, he's super into craft beers. He brought this beer back from from Michigan. That was a dill pickle beer, and I will actually drink pickle juice, but like people look at you weird if you walk down. But if I'm drinking beer, it tastes like, and it was like pickle juice and beer was awesome. So we started mixing Miller Lite with pickle juice to make like a pickle shandy.
Yes.
But if you're doing a pickle whiskey,
you might as well just put pickle whiskey into that beer and go and fortify.
Let's do it.
Well, take that Miller Lite to a new level now.
No, that's a great idea.
Thing with the Bloody Marys, holy cow! You throw this in with vodka on a Bloody Mary, it takes it to a whole new level. Dirty martinis, forget it. It's a game over on that. Pickle moonshine is amazingly good. I developed it with Wiley and Brian because customers were demanding it. Wow. I didn't come up with some brilliant idea. Let's do pickle. Old Smoky was doing old pickle, or they were doing pickle moonshine. I saw that come out, and when I tasted theirs, it was good. And when I started looking into it and understand what was happening there, I started going through an extraction, really a prototype experiments with extracting all kinds of things. Pickles started all that, and the way alcohol works and the way it extracts from things like pickles, it's beautiful. It sucks all the flavor out of the pickles. It sucks all the aroma and the taste. Comes out of there. The smell comes right out of there. Holy cow, into the liquor. And what's left behind? Those pickles, don't eat those pickles. It just tastes like alcohol.
So it's not like when the girls in college would take the bottle of vodka and pour it into a watermelon. Eat the watermelon.
Watermelon does not taste good. Alcohol.
But yeah, I love pickles, so that's
that's that kind of fun stuff we're doing. We're getting ready to come into Maryland, so please look for us over there. Any support, my gosh, just if you come down to our place, try our stuff, and you like something, be ready to go to your local liquor stores and ask for it, because we're going to try to comb every liquor store in Frederick. I'm pretty familiar with all the liquor stores.
So how far you want to go? So one of our sponsor is a liquor store here in Arnold. It's Cheers and Spirits, located in the Arnold Station shopping center. Give a little plug in there, but great people over there. I'm gonna have to let them know.
And I'll look them up. I'll go down there myself and give them a tasting, and we'll figure out how to get it down there. I love that part of it too. The marketing and the sales side of it's super fun. And just trying to get the message out. And the thing is to getting it into the bars too, and getting it out there, because that's where the real tastings come from, which I'm learning. When you in the distribution side, you really want to get to the restaurants and bars, because they're the ones that can then advertise you to go to the liquor store and buy this product that's out there. Get your tastings at the bars. So it's been a learn and a journey on that level too, the marketing side and the distribution side.
Well, we're talking about the business side of things. I guess my question is, as a small distillery like you guys, I mean, how much distribution can you do? I mean, how much whiskey can you provide for stores? And you said you want to get in bars too. I mean, how much can you produce to actually put it out there?
We can handle any limits there. We have partners in the industry that we work with, and we have really good whiskeys coming out that we can meet any demand. Bring it on! Oh my gosh!
Do you source any from like I know there's a distiller called MGP out there.
No.
And they do provide some whiskeys for some people out there. They mostly just bottle and slap a brand on it though. They're not doing what you guys are doing. I mean, they're a huge distiller though.
MGP, Midwest Grain Products, is massive. Oh my gosh! And we drink a lot of MGP. Go down through the liquor store, and it says right on the bottles that we buy. Bottled by such and such distillery, produced in Indiana, is a sure sign that's probably an MGP product. MGP makes some of the finest whiskeys in this country. Next to Kentucky and Tennessee's, right? Next to West Virginia whiskeys, of course. But we have a local partner that helped us get started in this business. We have barrels that we own and worked with them in partnership prior to even getting the business opened up. So that was a big help to get product, as a straight whiskey, because that bourbon we have is listed as a straight, but actually those whiskeys are about 4 years now because we still own those barrels down there. So and we continue to work with this partner here to produce those. So that's how you can handle the distribution side. And there's distillers, it just depends on what you're after. The craft of distillation doesn't necessarily, to be a distiller, to hold that title or to have a distillery license, it's not just about distilling. There's the art of finishing. So MGP provides a lot of whiskeys that may be unfinished that people can buy and put them in barrels and age them out. So it's white whiskey you purchase, but then you put them in your barrels and your choice of barrels, and then you age them in those barrels. That's part of the practice there. Taking whiskeys that might be 2 years and then transferring them into another barrel and doing a finishing another 2 to 4 years on top of that to make a 6-year whiskey is a good practice as well. Taking whiskeys that you find that taste really good and bringing them to your location and putting your label on it, there's nothing wrong with it, because on the back of the label, you're going to make those disclaimers like this is produced by such and such distillery, right? And then you make the statements that you bought it. But to have that option or that opportunity to put those whiskeys in your community, I think is another great way a distiller can be part and bring in new products and nice products for the whiskey drinkers too. So we pride ourselves on all local grain sourcing. For us, we are doing that coming out of our distillery, and we're super excited to work with all of our local farmers here. And local, by the way, just so you know, is Maryland and Virginia too. We're right on the river, and I hate to just discard the boundaries, because our local businesses and partnerships and our customers are all from those regions as well. So we do purchase a little bit of our grain out of Virginia, but we are mainly in West Virginia, a lot of our grains, and really located down in Charlestown too.
I would say for anyone who likes a sweet whiskey, the one you have right now, the one that we're drinking on right now, which is the straight bourbon, it's got some nice sweetness to it. That one that Wiley had me taste out of that barrel, man, that was a sweet whiskey. Like, I have not tasted anything like that. So whenever you bottle that, I hope I'm the first phone call, because I will drive out to you and come pick a bottle up. That's how good it was. And it was hot. It still went smooth. It was a warm whiskey, but man, it was smooth. And I usually like the lower proof stuff. So for someone like me to say that, it's got to be smooth.
When you're drinking higher proof whiskeys, they're going to have a tendency to I hear the word hot. Really, it's just they have a tendency to have more of a reaction on your tongue. I mean, there's an alcohol point where your body sort of experiences release, but it's the flavor under there. So when you're drinking, you'll find it. The more you drink whiskey, the higher the proof you're going to end up.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can get you back on the show. And if you do come out to Annapolis, we'd love to have you come to the basement and do a show with us in person.
I'll try to know. Oh yeah, we'll come up there. I might need a couch though.
That's all right. I'll actually give you a bed. I got a spare room. We'll put you in a bed.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, man, it was great meeting you guys. And please, anybody that can make it down to the distillery, come see me, Wiley McDade, Brian Halbert. Super fun tours, free. Come on in anytime, and we have a great tasting experience as well.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So that was Ken Walker with the Devil's Due Distillery. He's a good dude, man.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I love talking to guys about their business, and it was nice to get like a business, hear about a little bit about the business side of a small distillery. I'll be interested to see. Like, I mean, he said they can put out as much as people order, which
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the distillery, and like I showed you pictures of like with all the barrels and stuff. Like, I don't know how that. I mean, I guess you can ramp up, but that'd be big for them, I guess, wouldn't it?
I guess, yeah. I see, and that's the kind of stuff, like, because I've been to a couple distilleries. I haven't been to visited them yet, but I was down at one in Wilmington, and it was probably similar sized, but to like look at all like the big tanks and the pipes and all this stuff that was going on, like, it just looked cool, you know? So it's kind of like steampunky, but like, you know, they had this storage where all the barrels, and like, I just thought it was neat.
I'll post those photos again. The still was, I mean, it was like you said, like, it looked steampunky, right? But one thing I didn't take a picture of was the mash they had there, like those big barrels of mash, like they're huge. And the weird thing is, like, they were fermenting because they were bubbling from the bottom. And like, we were like, my wife and I were looking down at it, we're like, why is it bubbling? And that's the fermentation process.
Yeah.
And they had 4 big tubs of it. And I'm sure it was different mash bills, because that's the mash bill. I'm sure there's 4 different ones, and they're probably going to brew them all. But what do you call it? I guess you call it distilling, not brewing, right?
Yeah, you brew beer.
Right.
And distill liquor.
Well, I don't think he would have. I think if I called it brewing, I don't think he would have cared. He was super laid back.
Yeah. And what do you do with wine? I think wine just, you mash it up, and I don't think there's any process with wine.
It ferments, right?
Yeah, but you're not like, there's no, like, a wine maker. What do they call it? Like, are they a brewer? No. No. Distiller? No. So,
if anyone knows, just put it down in the comments for us so that we know.
Is it a vinter?
Maybe. If someone wants to be our Google for us, if anyone wants to do Jamie's work for us, that we don't have, please put it in the comments. Let us know. That 4-year whiskey. So it sounded like they had help from another distiller. Like, I guess he was saying they picked the whiskey, like they picked the mash bill, and they had someone else brew it distill it for them, I guess. And that's what they're putting out now. So that's the 4-year one that we were drinking. But judging by what they've got there, by what I tasted there, the younger stuff was hot. Like, it burned when it went in. But it was very sweet tasting. Like, you could taste the sweetness through it. But again, the one that's almost done that I was talking about, man, that did not burn. Yeah. Like, that was part, I guess it was aged much longer. Like, I think the one we tasted was only in the barrel for like 6 months. Yeah. And and Ken was like, that was too, he even said it was way too hot for him.
Well, it's like when you drink moonshine. Like, that's just coming right out like, no one's aging moonshine. It's clear.
Yeah. And so they do have moonshine there. They've got flavored moonshines there.
Yeah, because, I'm excited about that pickle moonshine. So.
Yeah. That was interesting. They had all types of flavors, but it was all proof down. So, like, it wasn't 100 or plus proof. Yeah. Their moonshine is closer to like 60.
Or like Everclear. You ever drink that in college? Like,
their moonshine. Their moonshine reminded me of like Bartles and James wine cooler like level. Like, it was super tasty though. I could see, like,
is it dangerous?
Yeah, you can get yourself in trouble real quick with that because it tastes like super fruity, super sweet. I mean, Like I had a thimble of it, and I was ready to chug it out of the bottle.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still had a little. Like it still tasted like alcohol a little bit, but not enough to make me stop. And it wasn't even a flavor I liked that much. Like my wife picked the flavor. I think she picked like strawberry or something. Mm-hmm. Even me, I probably would pick like the blue raspberry, like something that probably don't belong in nature. Like,
Right.
It's probably just Kool-Aid mixed with moonshine, whatever. But man, that was tasty. That's all I know. I would be in real trouble if that was at a party. That's like having like that hoop tea at a party. Good God. You had to.
Where was that when we were in high school?
Right. Like, listen, if no one's ever had hoop tea before, it's hoop, HOOP, TEA.
Yeah, so it's like a hoopty car, but it's Maryland local. It's made in Ocean City, I think.
Yeah, it is delicious.
And now they used to only sell it in bags, and now it's canned.
Yeah.
So
now it's portable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the bag was portable too.
The bag was portable. It was awkward. Like, I mean, you show up with a bag and people look at you weird. You show up with a can and it's socially acceptable.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you drinking out of a bag? Shut up.
It's like bringing box wine to the pool.
Right.
It's not really socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But if you bring wine in a can, now it's okay.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they really don't have wine in a can, do they? They've got wine in like little bottles, like travel bottles.
They might.
I think
I
everything.
want to say I was at a liquor store somewhere and saw canned wine because now they're like Cutwater. It was doing all those mixed drinks.
Yeah.
And then there's the Orange Smash, which for those of you that haven't had the Orange Smash, that stuff is straight up dangerous.
Yeah.
So one of our neighbors drinks it. He drank like a 6-pack of it. Was like,
I mean, that Cutwater, they need to cut. I mean, and this is gonna be sacrilegious to some people. They need to cut some of the alcohol out of it. It tastes too much like alcohol to me.
well, it's like the Cutwater Long Island. It's like a Long Island iced tea in a can.
Yeah, but even it's a little too heavy on the alcohol, less on the flavor.
Yeah.
Like the mules, they need to make it a little bit on the sweeter side. Like
Yeah.
it's like literally drinking like gin,
Yeah.
like and nothing else. Like if you were gonna sell me gin, just tell me it's gin.
Yeah.
Like, but no, that hoop tea is like that's a dangerous thing because I drank one and I swear like I'm like there's no alcohol in this, and I remember just chugging like the first one,
Oh, yeah,
and then
like
and then my wife is like, you know that has alcohol, right? I was like, it does? Oh, I better slow down.
Right.
As I chugged the next one. I was like,
I just got done running. I'm
thirsty.
thirsty.
I'm thirsty. This is delicious. It almost tasted like Lipton. What's that blue one? The brisk iced tea.
Okay, yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they have different flavors. Like there's watermelon and
yeah.
I kind of just stick to beer. But the pool's opening up soon, so we'll be back to.
It is. We got to get done with these spring sports. I haven't been to a happy hour in the neighborhood almost in 2 months now.
Well, you keep getting screwed with these Friday games.
Dude, I was like, who was the person that got him a couple years ago?
I got
Was
them.
it you?
Yeah. So we had. Yeah. So last year for spring baseball, Friday practice, I was helping to coach that team, so I had to be there. And then that fall, for fall ball, we had Friday practice. And then by middle, had swim on Fridays. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So for people that don't know, Fridays in our neighborhood is a happy hour. It's not official. We don't go to anywhere. We basically go to a central location in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we bring, well, I want to say concealed alcohol, but
It's.
I don't really know if it's concealed anymore. The kid, like, you know, the sad part is, and I think your kid does this too, because our kids are in the same class, and I think, and even when they're not in the same class, like they're both in the same school, the same grade, the same.
Yeah.
Everyone's got recess together.
Yeah.
And the teachers talk to each other, and both of our kids, like the teachers, oh, what are you guys doing this weekend? And both of our kids are telling everyone we're going, like, they're telling the teachers, oh, we're going to Tot Lot Happy Hour.
Yeah. Go to happy hour.
Oh, hey, maybe we don't share that.
Ik stay on the happy hour, nay.
Right. And so, like, one of the, I guess we were doing a parent-teacher conference one year, and I don't remember if it was this year or last year. And the teacher goes, "You know what's really funny? I was asking the kids what they were doing one weekend, and your kid mentioned happy hour." I'm like, and then my face just went like straight. Like, I went from smiling, not really paying attention to the conversation, because my wife, when it comes to education, I leave it to my wife.
Oh, that's right.
But when I heard Tot Lot happy hour specifically, like, ooh, what? What'd she say? No, we're not alcoholics. I promise. No, we don't go for 5 hours. I mean, it's more like 2 hours, mostly. I mean, there's some days when I was like trying to explain it away, and she's like, don't worry. She's laughing, but I was like, oh boy. Like, I think we were like a different teacher away from like Child Protective Services being called. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who didn't understand what was going on. I'm like, but the funny thing is like the kids talk on like the playground out in recess, and your kids saying we're going to Tot Lot Happy. Like they're literally asking all of the kids in the neighborhood if they're going to Tot Lot Happy Hour. Yeah. And I'm like, should we maybe call this something else? And they were like, screw it. Yeah, because our oldest ones already did this anyway. Yeah, like I guess our younger ones are just a little more chatty.
Yeah, well,
right. Well, I know. Yeah. They're a lot more chatty. Yeah. For both of us. Yeah, like you can't put any of them in a room together because it's a nonstop conversation. With like, there's a group of like six kids in the neighborhood ish, roughly.
Yeah, I think
give or take. Some come, some go.
Yeah, pretty much they're all within the same ages. Like your oldest and my oldest are the same grade,
right?
And that so
there's a lot of so the older kids, unfortunately for your oldest, I mean, I know there are some boys in this neighborhood, but there's for that 5th grade group, there's a lot of girls in that fifth. In our neighborhood, there's a lot of 5th grade girls.
Yeah,
like
I think same in my middle. There's a lot of 2nd grade
girls. Yeah,
girls too. So
it's a girl centric neighborhood. Yeah, girl heavy.
Which, they might complain about now.
Yeah, when they're older.
But for the 5th grader, in 3 or 4 years, he's not going to care at all about that.
No, I like it here, guys. Thanks. Yeah. You want like, hey, you want to come over to our house? No, I'm good. Why don't you guys come over here? You'll understand why in about 10 minutes. We're just going to walk around the neighborhood. Yeah. And you'll understand. Yeah. No, it was funny. There was a birthday party recently, and I didn't put it all together at how many of the 5th grade girls live in this neighborhood. That because I asked my daughter, like, do you hang out with X, Y, and Z? She's like, not really, but but it's kind of like you've got your acquaintances and your friends. Mm-hmm. So my daughter hangs out with like the same 2 to 3 girls in the neighborhood, but I guess the other 3 hang out with each other as well, and then they all hang out together. It's not clicked. It's not really cliques. It's like they're all friendly. Yeah. Like it's not like one hates the other, but I guess it's like these 3 more hang out with each other because they're in each other's class, and these 3 hang out with each other because they're in each other's class, and then they just did a birthday party, and they all did a sleepover. It was like 7 girls at a birthday party sleepover. I was like, that is a brave human being. Yeah. That is a brave adult. But yeah, there's a lot of like that age group girls. But even you're right. Even the 3rd graders, second grade, second. I never remember. I probably should. It's always the second child. You never remember anything. I barely remember how old she is at this point. Like I said the wrong age the other day. She was like yelling at me, like, "Well, I'm 8." I actually didn't. I'm sorry.
I kind of forgot.
Yeah, I completely forgot that you turned 8.
It's my mother used to do this, and now I do it. And I'll want to yell at one of them, but I can't get the name out, and I'm like going through all their names, and the dog's name gets thrown in there.
Wife's name probably getting thrown in there too.
Whoever you are,
right?
Get over here. So, just and you don't have 3. So
no, I'm lucky. I got the 2, and that's more than enough for me. But so the happy hours are coming back. We'll get rid of the spring sports. Although I signed up, so I decided to start a one-time tournament team for the older girls. Just to see if we want to do tournaments next year. So we're going to play a local tournament. Girls are guaranteed 3 games.
Yeah.
If you get in the playoffs, you get a 4th. But this is all brand new for us. We've only done the rec league, but rec league for us is kind of like travel ball because we do play everyone in the county.
Well, that's how it is for baseball in the fall. Mm-hmm. There was just one team, and it was cool because we were up playing. We went up to Lake Shore, played them. We went up to Severn Danza, played them. We went to Linthicum, Ferndale a couple times, and it was just neat to play different groups and see how they do things versus how we do things. And
well, they do nice fields, and we don't.
No, and it's crazy because you'd think that with this area being as affluent as it is, that there'd be some nice facilities. But I think with that affluence also comes apathy and parents that just don't care. So you go to Lakeshore, there's a group of dads, and that's what they maintain those fields. They have older kids that maintain those fields. So here, it's just some coaches care about the field, some don't. So I don't know, I'm coaching T-ball right now, so I drag the T-ball field after every practice. I don't know who else drags it.
Probably nobody.
Yeah. So, and then someone could put, he drags it wrong. Well, at least I drag it.
Right.
So.
The other day I was over at the school, and I got the tractor out, and I was like, because we played a game there the night before, and we didn't drag it. So I'm like, okay, I'll drag it today. And I didn't realize there was a team coming to practice on it. Mm-hmm. So I just hopped off real quick. I was like, hey, look, we played a game here. I didn't drag it. I'm just going to drag it now. You guys have a nice have a nice field to practice on. And he was like, cool, man, no problem. And then I did it after my daughter's practice. But then I saw there was one of the baseball fields. Nobody was on it. The practice there that had ended. Mm-hmm. So I just drove it over there and I dragged that one. Kind of because it's fun to drive the thing.
Yeah.
That's a new Gator, by the way.
Oh, that old freaking
the tripod
3-wheeled thing was like a death trap.
Yeah. So I drove the Gator and moved it around, and so I was like, well, there's no one over there. I'll just drag it. So I dragged it. But then my daughter's practice ended, so then I dragged that field. So I was over there. I just sitting around. I was like, well, I'll just drag 3 fields. Problem is, nobody else does that. They'll drag the one field. Mm-hmm. And normally that's what I would do, but I was like, all right. So I'm hoping, I also don't feel like the organization that we're part of, and your boys and my girls, it's softball, baseball, it's all the same organization.
Yeah. I
don't feel like it's kind of put out there that, hey, anybody can do this. If you're a parent on a team, feel free. Here's the coach.
With my oldest team, I'll get out there and I'll talk to if there's no other event going on, I'll get out there and I'll drag the field prior to their game, and the coaches are appreciative of it, and I'll help them stripe and do all that stuff. Help them mark it up, and the All-Star game is this weekend, so I'll get out there and that's fun because I'll put the coaches boxes, I'll do the on deck circles for the kids and just have some fun with it, so it's a little more special for them. But I'm also coaching, so I know the codes to all the things, and I went through the thing, and I've done it before. But yeah, I think a lot of the parents don't know that they can just do it. I think the other problem is that the family volunteer fee. So they charge an extra $60 a season. Unless you volunteer, then they discount that. But the volunteering is only for the concession stand.
Right.
Interestingly enough, it doesn't affect you. Coaching a team doesn't get you out of it. So I can go sell hot dogs for 4 hours on a Saturday and get out of it. But I can't do that because I'm also coaching a team, sometimes 2. So I can't get out of it because I have kids I'm responsible for. But at T-ball, I'm probably giving them 3 hours a week with prep and all that. You dragging the fields and things like that.
Sure.
With the upper levels, where they're playing 2 games and a practice every week, well, at that point, I'll probably give them 6 hours a week. But I still can't get out of the fee.
Right.
But I can't also, and here's the other thing. If you're one of the parents that like, hey, I think selling hot dogs is stupid, but let me take care of these fields. Can I get out of it? I think you'd have more people that would do that too.
Absolutely. I mean, and not that people really care. I mean, most people don't care about the $60. It's the gesture. Like, hey, you're doing these extra things that we need done to make our fields look better. Like, for example, I went out. Our girls played a team out in Bowie, and there's a set of fields called Black Sox Fields. I don't know the actual name.
Black Sox Park.
Okay, so Black Sox Park. The 4 fields there look practically like pro level fields.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, dirt is dirt, right? I mean, it is what it is. But the grass was well taken care of. Now that's also run by the city, whereas
The city of Bowie maintains those fields.
right, and people pay extra taxes to live in Bowie. You pay PG County plus Bowie City taxes.
Yeah.
But my thing is this: is like our county is not bereft of money.
No, we're not destitute.
No.
So
How much extra money would it cost them to put down to do fall aeration and some seeding? Now, I know what the excuse is going to be. Well, you play fall ball. So you're just going to walk on this grass after we've aerated and seeded it. You only need about 7 days for germination.
yeah.
Now, is it going to come up super lush in 1 year if you play on it after that 2-week period or 1 week period? No, but you're still going to get grass growth, and the grass is going to push the weeds out.
Yeah.
Right now, the weeds are overtaking the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And at least,
the fields are all crabgrass and clover.
yes. And if this is a county park, it's like, I know if we did it, it costs you about $100 to $200 to run an aerator for a day. A huge bag of grass seed is $100, or it used to be probably now like closer to 120. Each outfield probably needs 3 bags of grass. Let's say you do 10 fields. All right, so the aerator gets split up amongst 10 different fields. So if it's $100, it's $10 a field. Let's say it's $20 a field, plus $300 in seed. For $220, you can grow some outfield grass, for crying out loud. And maybe for an additional $20, you can get some the weed and grass killer.
Yeah.
To get so the grass isn't growing on the infield. Like, you do 2 seasons of that, and then you don't need 3 bags of grass seed every year. Then you only need 1 just to maintain.
Yeah.
But maybe you got to pay the employee to do it. But that's a sunk cost. You're paying the employee anyway. So instead of mowing the lawn 1 week, they go and put the grass seed and do the aeration.
Yeah.
Or through our baseball organization, have some dads rent out some equipment. Maybe someone else pays for the grass seed, and you refund them the $60 for the family fee. You don't think you would get 5 to 10 dads from both sets, baseball and or softball, 10 dads total. One of them with a truck to get the aerator and the seed.
Yeah.
To each place. There's probably 3-4 locations ish. You're telling me that wouldn't happen? They would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
And there are ways that you can do it. So say you aerate, overseed, and fertilize in the fall, and you can pretty much do it anywhere from like October 1st to around here, probably Thanksgiving, and still have it effective.
Right.
You know,
and you don't even need to grow. You just need the roots to take hold so it comes up in the spring.
Exactly. And the reason you do it then is because it's cool nights and warm days, so the grass likes that environment. So what you do, fall ball, the fields there's not as many kids playing baseball in the fall anyway. Now some of the parks like Broadneck, you might have an issue because they're being used for lacrosse and soccer at the same time. So
the baseball fields?
Yeah, so like
I
think it's Broadneck 2. The outfield, they use it for lacrosse. And they play clinic soccer on that field. But what you do is you say, okay, we're going to hit this field, but Belvedere and Arnold are used for nothing else. So you go and say, okay, we're going to hit this field, and this field early. They're not to be used. Just stay off it because you don't have as many teams playing, so they can just play on the other fields.
Right.
Then, after fall ball's over, which is usually it happens in November, fall ball ends, then you aerate the ones that you were using. The next year you just flip it.
Right.
So each field gets done, and it's simple.
Right.
You just have to have someone that's willing to do it. And then as far as the cost, you might be able to get a sponsorship from some, let's say some big landscaping company.
Yeah.
Will put their banner out there and they'll do it for free, or they'll do it for a reduced, whatever it is.
Right. And not only that, I mean, put their ad on the Facebook page, put their ad on the website. Yeah. Like every kid's got to go to that website to sign up, or every kid's parent has to go to the website to sign up. Let them put an ad up there with an aeration special.
Yeah.
That people will see.
You code BBSC for 10% off or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I use a lawn service, like not to mow, but to do other stuff like aeration, seeding, fertilizer, all that stuff. If I knew there was one that sponsored or that paid for the grass seed and whatnot for the baseball softball club, I'd at least give them a phone call.
Yeah.
And say, hey, why don't you guys come give me a quote?
Yeah.
I got this coupon, BBSC.
Yeah.
You don't think they would get? I mean, you're talking about how many kids are in from T-ball to 14U.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be at least 300 kids.
Yeah.
At least, right?
Yep.
You're telling me that out of those 300 parents, you won't get 30 of them to sign up?
Yeah. Or what about somebody of that 300? So you have a guy that owns 3 or 4 rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm looking for a new landscaper because I'm not cutting all this grass myself. You guys want to come out and? I mean, it's just the benefits are there.
Or even if they just let you pay for the seed at their cost, because they're getting discounts at the places that sell seed.
Yeah.
Or they have an aerator. Mm-hmm. Will you let us use your aerator?
Yeah.
Or, whatever it is, because we already have the tractors and the gators. We can pull something behind it.
So yeah, if you can buy a core aerator pulled by a tractor, doesn't cost that much. I mean, you get one for a small one for like a lawn tractor.
Yeah.
You get one for like $100.
You figure the bigger one for the gator is probably $200, $250, and you could probably buy one used off of like Facebook Marketplace.
Oh yeah.
And just take it from each field. Just take it to each field, hook it up to each tractor, and do it. And it's just there's no organization there.
Yeah.
And the guys that run it now, they only think about their teams because their teams are isolated from the rest of the organization. Which how that's even allowed to happen is beyond me. Like, look, I get it if he wants to, like, if they want to coach those teams and those teams are isolated in their own bank accounts and everything else, they can fundraise on their own. They do everything on their own. That's fine. But those people should not be in charge of an entire organization that includes rec leagues.
Yeah.
Because they're not looking out for the best interests of all the kids in the organization. They're looking out for their team. Their 14 to 16 players. That's what they're looking out for. They already get their own fields. Like, okay, you have your good situation. Now let's spread the wealth a little bit. And I remember we talked to them, and their rationale for having worse uniforms for the softball girls after a couple years, because we used to have nice ones, uniforms, and they downgraded to like these cheap, like it's like a moisture wicking tank top, but it's super thin. Like just like the other ones used to be like double tri-coat mesh, like with side inserts and whatnot. Like
buttons.
They didn't do buttons, but they did. But they were nice.
Yeah.
They probably cost an extra $5 to $10 per girl. And their rationale was, well, the girls don't bring in enough money. So okay, if softball has to be self-sufficient every single year, then why on earth are we part of the larger organization?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, why should money from the boys go to the girls? Some years it might. Some years it might not. I mean, considering the fact that...
But that's how college athletics works.
Sure.
I mean, you think about it, like the Georgia Bulldogs... Okay, so before I came over, I was watching the ACC softball because O's aren't playing tonight. So I was just and they were on. So I'll check it. I always like watching the collegiate softball stuff because it's neat because we talked about this before, like that grounded to third in MLB, that's an automatic out. Mm-hmm. But in softball, it's a smaller field. These girls are fast. There could be an error. They're not pro ball players, so like that could be, they're not. It's not a guarantee. It's not automatic.
You might see some excitement.
Yeah. And but it was Clemson. It was North Carolina and Clemson were playing. So you can't tell me that Clemson girls softball doesn't benefit from Clemson football and men's basketball.
Right.
Like they're bringing in big money for those into their program, and I don't have a problem if there's 4 10U or so now our oldest are playing 12U rec teams, and then the money from those 12U rec teams goes and supports the one girls 12U softball team.
Yeah, I mean, and right now for softball, there's 2 12U, there's 2 10U, there's 3 8U, mm-hmm. and 6U doesn't really do it by team anymore.
Yeah,
they kind of like they've got them all bunched together because it's more instructional than it is games and whatnot. But they do games, whatever. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it that the revenue isn't there, but with softball, there's fewer fields to maintain.
Yeah.
So
was it 2 or there's the 2 fields at Belvedere that they use for softball?
Yeah, but then there's the one at Arnold.
There's one at Arnold and
one at Cape.
One at Cape.
Now keep in mind, so like at Arnold, there's 4 other fields there. So this organization has to still maintain 4 other fields and only one of those, and then 1 field for softball.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-to-1 ratio there. Like, so we might want uniforms that cost a little more, but do we need as much money for field maintenance for our only 4 fields that we use? It works out in the end a little bit. I mean, will a little bit of money go from one way to the other? Sure, maybe. But how many companies are sending sponsorship money to the group because they're softball? Mm-hmm. And if anyone sends sponsorship money, it goes into a larger pot. Yeah. It doesn't get separated by softball or baseball at that point.
Right. Unless if I was a business, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy softball pitching machines for the club, and I'm doing it like that's the only way, or softball, something specific. But really, when you break it down, everyone's getting to bring their own bat, or their own gloves, their own equipment. So then, I mean, I can go and say I owned a thing that did screen printing. I can say I'm going to donate all the girls' softball uniforms.
Yeah.
So
well, the funny part. So this year, we bought the girls all. I think baseball might have been the same. All the girls bought their own.
We're pants this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only real expense is the jerseys. And to be honest with you, the boys' jerseys are T-shirts.
That's all they are.
It's like, why? Like, we pay one of the highest rates of all the surrounding organizations. Our fields aren't any better. Our uniforms aren't any better. Like, so where's the money going?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with the pants, like people were complaining about it. I was like, my oldest hates he calls them dork pants that have like the elastic on the cuffs. Mm-hmm. Like he's 11. Like he wants to look like the guys that are playing for the O's. So he either wants knickers or he wants like pro style open bottom pants. He's not wearing dork pants.
Yeah.
So he's like, he doesn't mess around with like, even last year they issued them. I just chucked him in the bin with all the other baseball pants, and he wears his open bottom pants. So.
Yeah. I mean, and with the girls, last year they basically, so the boys and the girls, they bought the same pants. They bought unisex pants. Well, for all the female listeners that we don't have, unisex pants don't fit women.
No, and at 10, 11, they're starting to get...
Things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to look more like women.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they're kids, whatever. Yeah. Okay, but they still want pants that fit them properly.
Right, and here, like, so watching that the Division I college, I mean, those girls are wearing pants. I mean, they might as well be leggings.
Right.
And I'm sure the little girls want to wear the same stuff that those girls do.
Bingo.
Now, the boys aren't wearing skin-tight pants.
No, but they want to wear what the major leaguers are wearing.
Yeah.
Like, my girl, like, my oldest sees, like, we watched the College World Series with her.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And I think we watched Oklahoma go on that tear they had.
Yeah.
Because that girl, I think her name Jessica Allo, broke, like, the women's, I guess not women's, but the softball home run record last year or 2 years ago. She thought the uniforms were awesome.
Yeah.
And then she went out and she was wearing some baggy boys pants.
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's that old saying, look good, play good.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they didn't feel good.
Right.
They didn't look good.
Yeah.
So, but I know they're the first world problems. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, so I wish there was some more we could probably do, and who knows, maybe there is. But I think this all started with me saying spring ball was gonna end, was gonna be able to go to happy hour more, and then I decided to tell everyone I signed up for tournament softball.
Yeah.
For one weekend. That's all.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 4 practices beforehand.
See, I love baseball season, and watching, coaching the kids, it's a lot of fun. And the thing was, I wasn't a baseball player growing up. Like, I just spent a lot of time watching videos and learning, and I follow these coaches' websites and different Instagram channels, YouTube channels, and just try to absorb as much as I can. And I'm enjoying it, and then I enjoy watching the kids get bigger and better and stronger, and when things click for them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. I get sad when it ends. Like, we're gonna hopefully get on the tournament team this summer, and he'll play into July, and I'll love it. Like, it's great. So I don't care how hot it is.
That would probably get for us to do a full slate of tournaments. The summer schedule is just so packed already.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they're going to camp this week, then we're going away this week. Then she's going to another camp, and then we go away again. And then we got these couple of practices we got to get in. Then we got the tournament we're going to win. And next thing you know, school's starting again.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, like, you only got 8 weeks to fit everything in.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll figure that stuff out as we go. But I'm looking forward to, like, at least a couple of weeks of just being able to sit back at our sitting place in the neighborhood and just hanging out for a little while, and not being in a rush to be somewhere. So
yeah, definitely.
But we hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Ken Walker from Devil's Due Distillery. Please check them out at facebook.com/Devil's Due Distillery. They're in Kearneysville, West Virginia, if you're out that way, which is out by Harper's Ferry and Charlestown. So you can go do a little gambling or actually get drunk first, then do some gambling. That's always a winning combination. That won't lose you any money at all. Thank you to Cheers and Spirits for sponsoring this episode. Hopefully we can get the Devil's Due bourbon in their store at some point. Like us on Facebook, Twitter. We're in all the major places. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and we will see you next time.